Hi, and welcome to Lamplighter Podcast. My name is Rebecca, and I have an exciting story for you today. Come and listen while I light the way to your imagination. Welcome back, everyone. Momo and I are so excited to finish our story with you today about the Frost Feast.
And I've been practicing my Christmas carols for you guys. You want to hear?
Sure, Momo. Let's see if you can remember the words this time.
Deck the halls with lots of acorns. Yum, 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 yum.
Oh, wow. Well, it sounds like you have the first part down, but I think we need a
the season to eat acorns. Yum, 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 yum.
Oh, boy. Sounds like we have a bit more practicing to do. Why don't we finish up our story of the Frost Feast while you and I practice some carols? Our last story ended when Aprina decided to collect some toys to surprise the children across the trench. Aprina decided to have a party. She was going to invite everyone she knew and would tell each person to bring a wrapped gift. They would give her the gift, and in exchange she would give them a beautiful bead that she had made herself. Everyone loved her beads, so they were sure to come. She knew she wouldn't be able to get enough presents for all the kids across the trench, but she wanted to try and get as many as possible. She spent the next couple days busily making beautiful green and gold beads to give out to everyone who brought a present. Then she decorated her house, prepared food, and set up games. She told Dancer that he had to stay in his room during the party because she knew he liked to swim up and eat food off of people's plates. When everything was ready, the guests arrived. They all brought presents just like she had asked. Big presents and small presents came flowing in. They were all wrapped beautifully in shiny papers. Everyone was enjoying their warm drinks in their fancy seashell cups when Aprina stood up and said, "Welcome, guests, and thank you for bringing presents to help our neighbors in the rock village." Then she told everyone the story about meeting the nice people across the trench. Suddenly, as she was speaking, her front door slammed open. Trumpets began to play loudly, and someone called out, "The king has come! Please make way!" All her guests were very surprised, and Aprina most of all. The king? The king only came out of his castle on very special occasions, and yet here he was, in her very own house, swimming up slowly towards her, his golden crown gleaming in the light. "Who is the one they call Aprina?" he said, looking slowly over the crowd who were all bowing low. Aprina stood up. "I am she," she said. What could the king possibly want with her? The king looked at her. "I have heard of this thing that you are doing, collecting presents to give to the people who have none. I too would like to give presents. In fact, I would like to give more than presents. If these people want to have a frost feast, then I shall make it the greatest frost feast ever. I want there to be presents, yes, but I also want there to be food and music and lights. A true celebration. Would you be willing to help me arrange all of this, Aprina?" Aprina almost couldn't talk. She was so amazed at the king's generosity. "Yes, your majesty," she stammered out. "I would be happy to help arrange the celebration." "Very well. You may come to my castle tomorrow, and we shall begin the planning." The king clapped twice, turned, and began to walk out as the trumpeter played and his many assistants followed. Aprina could not believe it. The king wanted her help. The king wanted her help. And then she thought of all the nice people across the trench. How surprised they would be now. They were going to have the best frost feast, and they didn't even know it yet. When her party was over, Aprina got to work. She wrote down many ideas for the frost feast. She took her ideas to the king the next day, and everyone in the city became very busy making decorations, wrapping hundreds of presents, and preparing food. They all wanted to help make Aprina's ideas come true. Finally, the day arrived. When night came and the village merpeople fell asleep, all the merpeople from the city swam quietly across the trench, their arms full of decorations, porcelain plates, seashell cups, glowing seaweed, and many, many gifts. They got to work right away. They planted colorful, glowing seaweed all along their dark streets and parks. They hung shimmering strings of pearls and silver along every house. They set up large ice tables and filled them with every kind of sweet and savory food. By the end, the simple rock houses and streets were completely aglow, almost like their own houses in the city. As morning arrived, Aprina swam over to Cordelia's house with gifts in her hand. Dancer came too, and it seemed like he knew how exciting this was, for he was swimming in circles around the house. She knocked lightly on the door. The door opened slowly, and she saw Cordelia's face. She looked surprised to see Aprina standing on her doorway.
"Why, my dear Aprina, what are you doing here so early? What?"
Then she noticed it. Her whole village was lit up. Pearls were dripping off everyone's house, and there were bright gifts on each doorstep.
"What is this?"
"Happy Frost Feast, Cordelia!" Aprina smiled and held out the presents. The village merpeople everywhere began to wake up and found themselves surrounded by a beautiful lit-up world that they had never seen before. And, best of all, as the mer children woke up, they saw the most exciting thing sitting by their front door. Gifts of all shapes and sizes just waiting to be opened. "Go ahead, open it," Aprina said to Cordelia's children when they came swimming out. They excitedly ripped the glimmering paper off. Halsey stared in amazement at her toy. It looked like a large upside-down pineapple with a bright blue button on one end.
Press it,
her brothers said. When she pressed the button, the most amazing thing happened. The machine came to life, and the spikier end began to spin. It then jumped out of her hand and dug a hole right into the earth under her feet. It kept digging and whirling and buzzing until the hole was big enough for her to fit in.
"What is this?"
she said as she jumped in the hole and peered inside. It had made a small cave for her. That's called a cave maker. It will dig you a little cave anywhere you like, kind of like a secret hideaway, said Aprina. The two boys were unwrapping their gifts as well. They both pulled out what looked like a plain stick. These sticks also had buttons on them, like Halsey's toy. So, of course, they pressed the button, but nothing happened. You have to tell it what you want it to make, said Aprina. So the first boy pressed the button again and said,
Make me a bed.
Suddenly, hundreds of little bubbles began to flow out of the stick. The bubbles then twirled together into the shape of a bed. The little boys began jumping on the bed and laughing, and Dancer came over to sniff at the bubbles. After that, they made a bubble swing set and a bubble baseball bat, and a bubble ball, and even a bubble hat. They laughed as they played with their bubble toys until the bubbles eventually slowly floated away, and they'd have to think of new things to make. All over town, the noise of happy children filled the air. The gifts were really quite amazing. There were special colored pencils that could draw pictures in the water, and those pictures would come to life like a movie. There were mermaid dolls that could race each other. There were pretend eggs that would hatch, and a robot penguin would pop out and say hi. And there were cute little seahorse pets to take care of. There were snowmakers so they could make snow mermaids, and sand sleds that they took to the top of their sandiest hills. There were water kites and seashell rockets. Every kind of imaginable toy was open that day, and there was more laughter and playing and sharing than ever before. They were so busy playing, they didn't even want to eat. But soon they smelled the wonderful food. The mer people from each side of the trench came and sat around the beautiful ice tables and began to eat. As they ate the delicious food, they talked and learned about each other. They shared stories about living in the village and living in the city. It was a great time of building new friendships. When they were all very full from dinner, they enjoyed a dessert of sea flower pie and algae mint ice cream. Then, to end the fun day, the village mer people began to sing their frost feast carols. They were joyful and happy and sounded lovely as they filled the cold water around them. The last carol was sung by Cordelia. The seaweed is glowing and it's lighting up the city. The cold's all around us, but it also looks so pretty. It's a time of sharing. It's a time of giving. Happiness is swimming all around us. Laughter and joy sure are abundant. It's a time of sharing. It's a time of giving. A la 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 la, a fa la 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 la. Let the water around us be light. A fa la 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 la, a fa la 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 la. It will be bright tonight. It will be bright tonight. The night ended, and everyone hugged each other and thanked each other, and went home 1,000 times happier than they expected that night. The city people were happy to have shared their toys and decorations and food with the village people. And the village people were happy to have so many new and exciting things. And everyone was happy that they had made new friends that day. Aprina hugged Cordelia goodbye while her kids chased Dancer around. Thank you, Aprina. I really don't know how to repay you. You don't have to. It wasn't just me. So many people gave so much to make this a wonderful celebration. The king and all my friends and neighbors decided to give so generously. We all worked together to make this frost feast the best. After that, the Frost Feast became one of the biggest celebrations every year. It was a time when everyone gave each other gifts and sang together and had fun. The village people and the city people became such good friends that they even built a large, gleaming white bridge across the trench to show that they would always be kind and generous neighbors to one another. Wow, I'm so glad Aprina had such a good idea to give presents to the kids. And because of her idea, they even had a better celebration than she could have imagined.
Yeah, I like the part about the presents. Those sounded super awesome.
They sure did, Momo. And do you remember what our virtue was this story?
I do! It was generosity.
That's right! Aprina was showing the village people generosity when she decided to collect presents for them. And the king was showing generosity when he gave them food and more presents and decorations. The people of the city were generous when they all gave their time to help set up the party. And even the villagers were generous when they shared their homes and feast with the city merpeople. You can be generous whether you are rich or poor. If you give to others to help them be happy, that means you are showing generosity. And now it's question time. Question 1. What are some ways you can show generosity to others this season? Question 2. How do you think it makes others feel when you are generous towards them?
Wow! This story makes me want to celebrate with a Christmas carol. We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas. And lots of acorns.
Oh boy, well, at least we can look forward to some more practice time together, Momo. How about let's go make a cup of hot chocolate and do that right now? Come on! Thanks for listening to Lamplighter Podcast today. I hope you enjoyed hearing about the Frost Feast. If you liked our story, please leave us a review. It really helps. You can also consider supporting this podcast on Patreon.